Good day, students. Welcome to part one of the review session. In this clip, we're going to be focusing on how to solve quadratic equations. So let's go ahead and take a look at question number one. It says, what are the solutions to the equation x squared minus 20x equals negative 100? So what I'm going to do first is place this quadratic equation in standard form. Basically, make it equal to 0 with the powers in descending order. Okay? So to accomplish that, I'll need to move this 100 to the left. So I need to add 100 to both sides. And that yields x squared minus 20x plus 100 equals 0. All right. The two ways we're going to solve this problem, we're going to do it by factoring and then use it. We're going to factor it in two different ways: the x game and then using the perfect square trinomial factoring trick. Okay. So method one, we're going to use the x game. Okay. Or you can call it the AC method. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. This is a longer method I'll do first, and then I'll show you a quicker way. So we have x squared minus 20x plus 100 equals 0. So we're going to make our little x on the right. AC goes on top, B goes on the bottom. So let's see. AC, we have the coefficient of the x squared is 1. So we have A, B, C. So AC is 100 and B is negative 20. So what two numbers multiply to give you 100 and add to give you negative 20? You do negative 10 and negative 10, right? So let's plug that in here. We'll have x squared minus 10x plus 100. All I just did is replace negative 20 with these two numbers. Now I'm going to break it down the center, and then we're going to factor by grouping, okay? All right, so let's break down our respective factors. On the first two to the left, we're going to break down x squared is going to be x times x, minus 10 is 5 times 2 times x, and then on this side, negative 5 times 2 times x, plus 100 is 2 times 5 times 2 times 5. All right, from the first two, I can take out x. All right, so let's factor that out. Factor out the x, we're left with x minus 10. And then from the next two, I'll take out 5, 2, and a negative, so we'll take out negative 10. And then we're left with x minus 10. If you factor out a negative, this plus changes to a negative, okay? Now, these two terms on the outside, we'll bring them together. And then we can factor out the x minus 10, put that in together, factor it out, x minus 10, and we're left with those two terms on the outside, which is x minus 10, and that's the factored form equals 0. Okay. All right. Now, to solve this, we set both of them to 0, so x minus 10 equals 0, and x minus 10 equals 0. So they both the same thing, so if we solve one, that will be sufficient. All right, so just add 10 to both sides, and then we have x equals 10 as our answer. All right? Okay. Now, let's try using another method. Method 2, we're going to use the perfect square trinomial factorization. Okay? Method 2 is I'm going to call it PSC, perfect square trinomial factorization. All right. Now I'm going to start right off from the standard form of the quadratic equation we had, which is x squared minus 20x plus 100, x squared minus 20x plus 100. Now this method works only for perfect square trinomials. How do you know if this is a perfect square trinomial? The question is, if I root the first term, if I double the square root of the first term and the last term, do I get the middle term? 20x, do I? If I do double the square root of this and that, do I get the middle term is the question. So this is 2x times the square root of 10 is 10. And if you times these two together, you have 20x equals 20x. So if this check works, if double the root of the first and the last equals the middle, then it's a perfect square trinomial. So you see that it works here. So if you want to factor this using the perfect square trinomial factorization, all you do is you take the square root of the first term and the last term, and then you bring down the middle sign. Okay? So there you have x minus 10 quantity square equals 0. Okay? And then to finish this up, you just simply take the square root of both sides. You root the left and the right. And then you have x minus 10 equals plus or minus 0. 0 has no orientation, right? So you just have x minus 10 equals 0. Add 10 to both sides. And then you have x equals 10. All right? So there goes your final answer. All right. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the next problem. Well, let's circle our answer for number 1. Our answer for number 1 is C. We got 10 in both methods. You can see that method 2 is much quicker. All right, next question, number 2. It says, what are the solutions to the equation negative 4b squared minus 4b minus 4 equals 0? You can see the radicals here clearly indicate, or is a hint that this is going to be a prime quadratic. It cannot be factored. So we need to resort to a formula or an approach that guarantees that we can find the answers. So factorization won't work, so we can either use completing the square or the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is much easier to use, so let's go ahead and use that, all right? So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, the whole third divided by 2a, okay? All right, let's go ahead and solve that. So we're going to have, in this problem, let's rewrite it, negative 4b squared minus 4b minus 4 is already in standard form, so we can extract a, b, c without any problems. Okay, so a is negative 4, b is negative 4, and c is negative 4 also. All right, so what I'm going to do is plug all of this into my quadratic formula. Let's see what we get. So we have x equals minus negative 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 4 squared minus 4 times negative 4 times negative 4. That's 4ac. And that whole thing divided by 2a, which is 2 times negative 4. Okay? Divided by 2 times negative 4. Alright, let's go ahead and work this out. Alright, so using the order of operations, we're going to simplify this entire expression right here. So negative times negative is positive. So we have 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 4 squared is 16. Minus times minus is a plus times a minus is a minus. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. Okay? Now let's divide that by negative 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Alright, let's go ahead and simplify the radicand. We're going to have this equals 4 plus or minus the square root. 16 minus 64 is 48. It's going to be negative 48 over negative 8. Alright, let's go ahead and simplify negative 48. So square root of negative 48. The square root comes out of the radicand as an I. So let's break this down. Take out 2 into 48, 24. 2 goes into 24, 12. 2 goes into 12, 6. 2 goes into 6, 30. Okay, so let's see. 16 times 3, yes, perfect. All right, now what does this mean? Any factor that repeats itself, we can extract out. So this 2 2's, 2 times 2. If you read that, that comes out as a 2. And then these 2 2's, 2 times 2. If you read those 2 times 2, comes out as a 2. So this 3 stays behind. All right, stays behind. So the square root of negative 48 is simply this 2, you multiply them by each other. So you get 4. And then the I, 4i, and you're left with the 3 as a radicand. 4i root 3. Okay? So that becomes 4 plus or minus 4i root 3 over 8, over negative 8. Okay, so now let's go ahead and split it up so we can simplify. So we're going to have negative 4 over 8. See this negative downstairs? It came out because positive over negative is negative. Plus or minus, the opposite of plus or minus is minus or plus, which is the same thing as plus or minus. 4i over 3 divided by 8. Okay, you want to split it up first before you reduce so you don't make mistakes. Okay, let's reduce this. I'll divide this by 4 top and bottom. The first portion of this expression will be reduced into negative 1 over 2 plus or minus. We'll do the same thing here, so I can divide by 4 top and bottom. I'll have root 3 over 2. We put an I after the number. So, okay, so it's negative 1/2 plus or minus root 3 over 2. That's our final result for this question. Okay, so the correct answer is option A, I believe. Yes, option A. So you gotta be careful with the sign in that denominator. Okay, so the answer is option A. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this presentation. Feel free to subscribe to my channel by clicking up here and click like if you like the video. And please post a comment to let me know what you think about this presentation. More clips coming from on myclearshare.com. Thanks again and have a wonderful day.